Hello, guitar lickers and trickers. A number of months ago I posted a video of me playing a solo over a blues shuffle in A. Now, the video itself was very well received, but one of the more common comments was people requesting for me to show how that solo was played. It's a solo that I developed, as I said in the description to that particular video, I developed it from a series of licks and riffs with the ultimate objective of outlining the chords of the blues progression. The overall aim for me was to be able to play that solo without a backing track and for the listeners to still be able to hear the changes occurring. So in today's video, I'm going to show you, if at all you're interested, how I played that solo note for note, well, almost note for note, because what we'll find is that there are passages that I very rarely play the same twice, but the general gist will be conveyed. So if you are interested in learning that solo, then please do stick around. The solo begins with a pickup, and that is a series of introductory notes that lead us into the beginning of the overall tune. And in this pickup I use the 9th fret high E string, 10th fret high E string and 12th fret of the high E string, which is the C sharp, D and E respectively. And then I slide from the 8th fret to the 9th fret, and that coincides with the downbeat of the first part of the tune. And that is a rake, and that rake is from the 9th fret of the high E string, 10th fret of the B string and 11th fret of the G string, with a pull off from that 11th fret to the 9th fret of the G string. So we have this. And for that rake, I'm basically doing upstrokes, a raking or sweeping type pattern with the pick coming towards me. And I mute it at that point there. And I finish that first phrase with a bend. So it sounds like this. And that bend is from the 12th fret of the B string, one full step bend. I then repeat that overall phrase, but with some variation. So it goes like this. Okay, so that pickup, the slide I do twice, I do the rake, and then the bend, I push up, let it come down, pull off to the 10th fret on the B, and then cap by going back to the B note, the 12th fret of the B string. With that sort of phrasing. Very Gary Moore, Peter Green. So to recap, all of this is taking place over the A7 chord. Right, so the progression then moves to the D, or the D7. And for this, I steal something from Matt Schofield, a great blues player. And I use a passage that highlights the D chord from this triad here. And I play and that is the 6th fret of the B string, slide up to the 7th fret, play the 5th fret on the E string, roll down to the 5th fret on the B string to have this, and then slide from that 5th fret to the 6th fret on the B, and then back down to the 5th fret, and then finish on the G 7th fret. So we have this. And after that I go straight into a D Mixolydian run. And finish with an A. How I do that? I go, so we've landed on this this D note, which is G string 7th fret, go down to the C 5th fret of the G string, and down to the B, which is the 4th fret of the G string, then 7, 5, 4 on the D string. So I've gone 7, 5, 4 on the G, 7, 5, 4 on the D, back up 5, 7 on the D string, 4 on the G string, then back down, 7, 5, 4 on the D, to take me to the E note 7th fret on the A string. So let's recap that. It is tricky, and to be honest, I never actually play this the same way twice, and I probably won't play it the same now, but it's something like this. And I played it completely different then. So let's see. It's something like that. And I actually stretch time with this. I will play more notes or fewer notes depending on just precisely where I am in the progression. It's a feel thing. But the idea is to... There I went to the D. So I went... And I end it by sliding from the C on the 3rd fret of the A string up to the 4th fret of the A string, picking out this A note on the 7th fret of the D string, and then going an octave lower to the A note on the 5th fret of the low E string. Then I cap that off by playing BB-esque, this A note at the 17th fret of the high E string. So to recap that, we then go into the turnaround, which is the the D7, or in this case D9, and the E7, and then the D7. And for that I play a slide up to 9th fret B string, which gives me a G sharp, and then I play the E, so I'm playing the major 3rd and then the root of the E chord. And then over the D, I play this little triad which comes out of the it's a D triad, a D7 triad, and that's borrowing across the 7th fret G, B and A. Then I place my index finger on the 8th fret to give this, and then I rake back down with a slide from this 7th to 5th fret on the G string, which is from the D to this C, which is a flat 7 of the D. So and then I finish the overall phrase as we land back on the A with this. So what's that? Oops. Well, I slide into 14th fret on the D string, and then I then play the 16th fret of the G string, 15th fret of the B string, 14th fret of the high E string. Then I play the 19th fret of the 17th fret of the high E string, which is the A note, pull off, back to the 14th fret of that string, then the 15th fret of the B string, 16th fret of the G string, and the 14th fret of the D string. So basically it's this. So it's a little sweeping pattern really. But I make it bluesy by firstly sliding down to the D note of the at the 12th fret of the D string, hammering on the E at the 14th fret of that same string. So we got this. And then I slide down 2 frets, which is the C of the at the 10th fret of the D string. Then hammer on 1 fret above, and then play the E note 12th fret of the low E string. So we get this. And that brings us to the end of that first part of the solo. We've gone round the progression once. So I'll play that from the top before we go to the next section. Okay, then we go straight into the pickup for the next part of the progression, and that is a phrase which looks like this. So I'm playing the 7th fret of the G string, bending up, but before I get to a full bend, I play the strings, the B string and the E string barred at the 5th fret. Like that, a very traditional blues style phrase, and I cap it, stop it, and mute it, and I do that by just letting my finger rest on the string there, and then I play from the 7th fret of the B string a half step bend. And with that, I'm then bringing out this G note, which is the flat 7 of the A7 chord. So all of this introduces and takes place over the A7 chord. A7 chord comes in there, first downbeat of the progression. Okay, so the next part is, so start again. So I've made the half step bend, I then let it come down to the 7th fret, pull off to the 5th fret, then play the 6th fret of the G, which is the major third of the A, then go to the 5th fret of the B, and I slightly pull on that before putting a hammer on the 7th fret of that string. So it looks like this. And then the next part is a Mixolydian style lick, which involves a number of bends. So the first one is the half step bend from the 7th fret on the B string. Then moving to the 7th fret of the high E string, a full step bend, and pulling off to the 5th fret. So half step, pull off to the 5th fret on the B, full bend, pull off to the 5th fret on the high E. Then with my index finger, my index finger, I play the 6th fret of the G and pull just half bend. So, pull that to the, let that come back, and then I play the 7th fret on the D string, the 5th fret on the G string, and then I rake by playing from the 5th fret on the G string to the 7th fret on the D string to the 7th fret on the A string, pulling off to the 5th fret on the D string, and then sliding down to the 5th fret on the A string, sliding down to the 4th fret on the A string. So we have something like this. That's quite tricky. Take a bit of work. Okay, so that is over the A. We're now going to the 4 chord, the D, and for that I have another pickup where I play these. I play the 7th on the D, 5th on the D, and then land on the 4th on the D, which gives me the major third of the D in the progression. Just as we land on the D, I should be landing on that note. And then I run back up. So that's from 4, 5, 7, then I move to the G string, 4, 5, 7, slide up to 9 on the G string, then I go to the B string, 7, 8, 10, and the high E string, 7, 8, 10. So I've just ran up the D Mixolydian scale. I slide up to the E, play the 10th fret on the B string, and then back to the 12th fret of the E string. So all of that again. Notice how I cap that. And the fingering, I use my little finger for that part of the phrase, then I bring my first finger into the 10th fret of the B string there, and then I use my ring finger for the final part of the phrase. And I cap it, I cut it, choke the note by just resting my finger on the string. So then the progression returns back to the A, and for that I do a full step bend from the 17th fret of the high E string. I then hit the note again, pick the note again as it's coming down, to play down to the F sharp on the 14th fret of the high E. And then I go to the G string, the 16th fret, and I don't play this one the same all the time either, but it's something like this. Okay, so what I do there is come down, let that come down, but end without playing any further notes. I just let that end on the F sharp on the 14th fret of the high E string. So I'll go straight into that bend from playing the 14th note of the high E string, and then go straight into the bend on the 16th fret of the G string, full fret bend, that's how I usually play it. So you can see I've got part of a pre-bend going on there. So I play it, but choke it, and then let it come down. Slowly. So then we go to the turnaround. So before I get there, I'll just go back over that part of the solo, which goes over the 1-4-1. Okay, so now to the turnaround. So the turnaround over the E, and then the D. So what I do is play from this 14th fret on the low E string. I play 14 on the E, 12 on the A, 14 on the D, 13 on the G, 12 on the B, 12 on the E. Right in the middle of that is an E major triad. Oops, sorry. And then I play the 14th note on the high E, slide up to the 16th note, and then I do this thing where I rock between that 16th note on the high E and the 15th note, the D note, on the B string. like that. And I seem to recall that I actually took this, well, not with that section, but with this, from John Sykes. He plays something like it in Is This Love with Whitesnake. So yeah, I've adapted that and made it a little bit bluesy. So that's over the E. Then over the D, whereas that went ascending, I now descend over the D, and I do that by playing the 12th fret of the high E, pulling off to the 10th fret of the high E, rolling down to play the 10th fret of the B. Then I play the 11th fret of the G, the 12th fret of the D, roll down to play the 12th fret of the A, then play the 10th fret of the low E. So that will give you this. So right in the middle of that, you have that D major triad. And really, all I'm doing is playing that D major chord there, but with the introduction of this E note. And then to make it bluesy, I slide that down to the C, which is the flat 7 of the D. I then play this F sharp note on the 9th fret of the A string, and play the C octave on the 10th fret of the D string to give me this. And that way I'm highlighting my D7 chord. And then I take the remaining on that string, I then slide up to what is the 19th fret of the D string, and then I play across all the strings barring at the 17th fret. I play across the G, the B and the A. So basically I've outlined an A minor triad, and I do a full step bend, come back down, so a full step bend from the 19th fret of the high E string, come back down, then play the A note at the 17th fret of the high E string, and then I go to the 19th fret of the B string, pre-bend and play that note, so that pre-bend I actually play it and choke it again. So you recall I did this earlier. And then do a full bend from the 20th fret of the B string to finish. And that's it. Let me just string that whole passage together for you. Okay, so that is the whole solo. Now, the whole point of this solo for me was to be able to play this solo without a backing track, so that the listener could actually hear the changes through the notes that I chose. I'll do that now, and hopefully you'll be able to hear those changes as I play the whole solo, the entire solo in full. 2, 3. Okay, and I vary elements of it every time I play it. I never play it the same. But yeah, that's it. That is the solo to the A Blues Shuffle, and I hope you have learned something, and maybe you can take some of these licks and phrases and incorporate them into your own playing.